Part of the justification for why I've chosen to come public with something so private for me is on the grounds that I believe that individuals should comprehend that in addition to the fact that I hit absolute bottom like multiple times, young lady, winding up in an almost impossible situation. No less than multiple times, probably been horrendous for Lisa Nicole Carson. Yet what precisely compelled her hit absolute bottom more than 20 times, honey? I can let you know that I have heard a ton from a psychological sickness to a dependence on her terrible all her cash, and Lisa being renounced. And what are these mumbles about her readily deciding to participate in savagery? I mean, you all recollect the exceptionally shapely, delightful Lisa, with the most astounding hair, right? I simply need to set aside some margin to remove my cap, since I've been guided take off, and to show America that this is no Eve. Lisa was unquestionably perhaps of the most gifted entertainer, and was in such countless shows and motion pictures, from Partner McBeal to Emergency Room, Love Jones, thus numerous others. She was truly one of those entertainers who typically played supporting parts, yet she was generally vital to the general plots of the shows. Like Eve's Martian demon in a blue dress wouldn't appear to be legit without her jaws, so very much like a few VIPs in Hollywood, Lisa has had a remarkable excursion. And sadly, she's not been one of the people who's had a large number of triumphs in Hollywood. And obviously a few things have additionally been said about her time in Hollywood, including a few pretty upsetting charges. For example, she was making an incredible titles once upon a time for purportedly captivating in acts with a canine. I know, it's crazy supposedly. Or obviously she was expected to take part in brutishness for a job, yet even in the wake of playing out the demonstration, the Chiefs didn't give her the job. They fundamentally giggled at her after she did it. This is truly one reason why many individuals side-eye her and say they don't feel frustrated about what she went through after her fall out of favor. I don't have the foggiest idea how much truth there is to this story, yet it is only one of the wild reports out there, best except that her fall was likewise really monstrous in light of the fact that there was additionally a visually impaired thing on Lisa some time back which said that she turned into a server subsequent to losing all her cash. As I said, that matter of fact, there's fans she perceived Elisa when she was a server at a burger joint, and chose to ask her what had occurred by the fan. Lisa said everything began with believing that everything would endure forever, and that in any event, when Partner McBeal finished, she figured she would get one more show in a subsequent, which was the reason she had not tried to save any of the very nearly $2 million she procured from the show. She said she had likewise purchased a house, yet wound up renegotiating it and losing it during the downturn, since she was unable to bear the cost of the installments. When the loan fee went up, supposedly Lisa had likewise done a ton of seoki, which she had her hit show, yet couldn't bear the cost of it when the show finished. So she went to less expensive choices, which consumed a large chunk of the day to get off. Furthermore, for some time her sweetheart remained with her, yet he became weary of the medications. And celebrating so, she found different folks that appreciated it, and they would deal with her. The fan likewise said that Lisa's family wouldn't address her any longer since she had endlessly acquired from them while never repaying anything, and she likewise supposedly took from them now. I realize that that is all presumably a ton for Lisa to impart to some arbitrary individual, since that is a ton of data to share at a burger joint, so everything could be tails. Yet what individuals had begun talking about is that the break had begun appearing, yet clearly not for long, in light of the fact that Lisa figured out how to get off them. And it's been expressed that eventually she was engaged with a Jamaican beau who added to her transgress, supposedly, while she has not been open pretty much everything that I've referenced yet. Something that Lisa herself said made Hollywood toss her out was her bipolar determination back in the last part of the 90s and 2000s. I was having a progression of mental meltdowns. I have figured out how to stay quiet about it. For some time, the thing is, Lisa had forever been a cheerful individual, and she delighted in fulfilling others anyway. while her associates partook in her jokes. One maker from the show Emergency Room, which she was featuring in, didn't find her conduct pleasant. This is on the grounds that he purportedly had seen a comparable circumstance with one of his relatives who turned out to be determined to have bipolar turmoil, and the maker communicated his interests with Lisa's way of behaving, yet she dismissed them. That was until she had her most memorable maniacal breakdown in 1997, and one more in 2000. And you presumably recall that one since it stood out as truly newsworthy after she was hospitalized. Yet I had an episode in New York at an inn, and it got spilled out to the press. Lisa quite focused on that episode in a meeting with Substance, where she said that she was in New York City finding friends and family, when she startlingly threw a tantrum in her lodging, shouting, tossing things, crying, and raising sufficient damnation that the staff called a rescue vehicle. She said that she turned out to be hospitalized for half a month, and a specialist gave her a bipolar problem analysis. Anyway, she was still willfully ignorant, and that kind of made her excursion to recuperation significantly harder. There were endeavors to treat me, yet I was in finished refusal about having disease. Assuming you are in the pains of a mental meltdown or episode, they can become desperate circumstances quite effectively. So I had encountered 2 or 3 them one after the other, and I sort of needed to get familiar with the most difficult way possible. Well, Lisa improved, and keeping in mind that she had the option to get back on set, and surprisingly, said that the creation was exceptionally inviting. They actually didn't recharge her agreement for the following time of Partner McBeal. She truly uncovered statement. After being released, I got to Los Angeles and went once again to work on Partner McBeal, feeling more in part. Everyone on the show was magnificent to me, yet my agreement wasn't reestablished for the last season. No one gave me a clarification, except for I expected it had to do with what had happened. I was crushed. End statement. While discussing her episodes, there was likewise gossip some time ago that Lisa got discharged from emergency room due to her unpredictable way of behaving. As far as anyone knows, the straw that broke the camel's back was the point at which she went around the set bare and was crazy, and the journalists started off her personality, Carla Reese, instead of re-evaluating the job. So it's conceivable that she was likewise wrapped on Partner McBeal for a similar explanation. Yet something different, Lisa said, happened was that once our episode became public, she was destroyed in the press, which truly hurt tragically. That episode in 2000 was not the remainder of her breakdowns, on the grounds that in 2004 Lisa had another breakdown, and it was much more terrible than her past breakdowns. In a meeting with Individuals magazine, she said that it was the nearest everything came to falling for her, as per Lisa, that undeniable the start of the finish of the illness for herself. And she concluded that whatever was happening in her life needed to come in just short of the leader. She needed to take her prescription and battle the disease with all that she had. Lisa additionally let Individuals know that she drilled down into her psychological maladjustment, because to tell Individuals that it's feasible to receive in return, adding, I never needed to hint even the slightest bit at what befell me, yet I've had a shift in perspective. It's uncommon for somebody who has something as serious as I've needed to come out the opposite side. Yet I might want to tell Individuals that you at any point can get to the opposite side, as though it wasn't hard enough that Lisa needed to manage her psychological instability. Might you at any point likewise envision that the business debased her for clearly being challenging to work with, given there are individuals who are truly challenging to work with in Hollywood? Yet for Lisa's situation, dislike, she just decided to be troublesome. She was in a real sense fighting a psychological instability while doing all that she could to control her life. And as she said, the media additionally destroyed her, and that additionally made it hard to return to acting in vision, going through all that. And when she signed in web-based, the main thing she saw was Individuals ridiculing her episodes and others hammering her for being insane. So Lisa avoided diversion, yet rather than allowing the sickness to assume command over her, she assumed command over it. I'm extremely honored to survive. It turned out to be really obvious that this was the kind of thing that I needed to deal with to save my life. And keeping in mind that it might have been a ton more terrible, aren't we as a whole happy that she's attempting to get a hang of things? I don't view it my life as shocking. I view it my life as wonderful. Luckily, there is still expect Lisa. And let me know you are not passing on to see those hypnotizing dimples against the screen once again. Yet I couldn't want anything more than to understand your viewpoints on all that she went through that prompted her vanishing from Hollywood. From her being a server to the break, claims the psychological